So you've got a lot of organizations like the ones I mentioned before, like the Institute, like the Free Market Foundation, like AfriForum, who have said the way to lead a good life in South Africa is not to say the government must, it's to say we must. It's to say as citizens, we have a responsibility to look after ourselves, to create community structures that have mutual respect for other community structures, that foster individual rights and push back against government excess. And those structures have been very successful. So I was chatting to someone who's a EFF stalwart, would describe himself as a black nationalist communist. And I said to him, tell me about what your last experience was like in Home Affairs. This was before Leon Schreiber took over. He said, geez, yeah, it was pretty grim. I had to get there like crack of dawn. There's this like incredibly long queue. The whole room was just filled with nothing but like despair. And it took a very long time for my thing to get resolved. I was like, okay. I said, and the last time you went to MTN to go and buy a cell phone and get your contract renewed, he was like, yeah, it was actually quite amazing. There's like stores all over the show and it was like quite competitive pricing and the price of cell phones has like really come down. And it's amazing that I can have this like super fancy smartphone that would have cost like 20 times the cost a few years ago. Yeah, that's the difference between state-led projects and the private sector. The fact that the poorest of the poor can have access to a smartphone with cheap internet, start a side business on that, that's incredible. That's an amazing thing. Can you imagine if instead of that we had the government-made cell phone? It would look like our landlines still.